What it do, Kosher Crew? We are here with the man, the myth, the legend, KosherPlug. And if you guys don't know, he's an extremely successful young man, 20 years old, and he has made over 6 figures just flipping NFTs. But guys, we're going to get into his story in this video. And we're also going to be talking about how maybe you guys can use this as maybe inspiration or take some of the lessons that he's learned along the way and help you guys, yes, you, the viewers. So, Kosher, what is going on, my man?
What is going on, Bento Boy?
Thanks for hopping on the channel. But yeah, I just want to get right into it and straight into your story. So can you talk about, how you got into the NFT space and kind of your story of flipping? And if you don't mind diving into the numbers, I guess how much you've made total?
Yeah, back in the day, I actually have a video on the Brentways channel talking a little bit about it. And, back in the day, I would work at Amazon and I was flipping NFTs just like as I was working. I was like hopping on OpenSea. I would just scroll through, see what was going on. And at that time, I was just flipping like NFTs like Pudgy Penguins and just working and just at the same time just like checking and making more money. Was spending more money in gas fees alone than I was making an entire day at work. And after that point, I think I made about $30,000, and I was like, okay, time to quit.
Okay, wait. Back it up a little bit. So you made $30,000 in how long, I guess, of getting in NFTs?
I would like to say a month and a half, maybe.
So a month and a half, college dropout, was working at Amazon, and then made $30,000 in the NFT space.
Yes. I was still in college at that time. I was actually working at Amazon, going to college and flipping NFTs at the same time. And I would just spend all day just watching the market. And literally I had absolutely no life. I didn't see a single person. I swear to all my life, I haven't seen a single person like who I was friends with for at least 4 months after I got started into NFTs, because I never had any free time. I was always working. I was always doing things. And every time I even left the house, I was just like I got to get back. I got to learn what's going on because I'm just missing out on money, especially during the time when the peak bull run was happening. It was like a money printer. You could have bought anything. You could have thrown a dart at a board. You would have made a good amount of money at that point.
So after, I guess, a couple months flipping, or in total to date, how much money do you think you made overall flipping NFTs?
I actually checked. There's this website that you could track your wallet, see how much you made. I believe at the last time I checked, like way back in the day, Ethereum prices may have changed whatever I've made also as well. So that's also a drastic decrease in overall profits. But I remember it was around like $350,000 around the point of me last checking.
So in your perspective, I guess, like, what makes a good project, and how do you know, where to put your money in the NFT space? Because, there's so many projects coming out right now.
Personally, I wouldn't really invest in much right now. If you're looking to make some money, like really, you could hop into some of these degen plays, but it's honestly, it's going to go like this, right? It's going to start off really, really hype. Yeah, it's free mint, everything's going good. Then boom. It's like you got to be very careful with when you're buying stuff like that. You're gonna obviously have projects like Goblin Town, right? That went like this, right? And they went like this, and then they're like, and it's like they're hovering. So there's going to be some of those type of projects, right? But there's a good amount, like I would say 95% are just going to immediately go to zero in just a given period of time, just because there's no substance behind it. And I mean, it's memes a lot of the time, but I mean, you can say the same thing. Oh, Dogecoin is a meme and it's still pumping, but it's a gamble, a coin flip. And it's the same thing with a lot of these other degen cryptocurrencies as well. Like, if you're going to degen play and meme into stuff, yeah, it's fun and it's funny, but a lot of the times it's just going to go to zero, and you got to understand that and take it with a grain of salt whenever you're investing, and don't play with money that you can't really afford to lose. And I do that all the time to people and tell them that.
That's good advice. But I agree with you, man. Like right now, the market is way different than it was, I want to say, just a couple months ago. It's a lot more risky. There's not as much volume, and we're definitely in a more bearish period. So I do want to ask, are you currently trading NFTs or doing on any of the degen mints and stuff like that?
I mean, NFTs, I can't even remember the last time I bought anything. Realistically, I don't like investing money in markets that are just like so volatile like this. And I mean, you could definitely take this as an opportunity to buy some of the really cool blue chip projects, like, for example, Bored Ape Yacht Club and Punks and possibly like Cool Cats and Doodles and some of these projects that will more likely be around here during the time being, as opposed to like free mints that, especially with free mints, I don't suggest anyone buy these on secondary because it's such an easy way to get wrecked, especially if you just follow someone and just like blindly ape into things, not understanding that they're most likely just going to just go straight to zero. So you just got to understand that the market is very, very, very volatile right now. The market volume is very low as well. There's nothing really keeping people in this space other than these free like flip degen mints. And a lot of people who are left in this space now are a lot of just gamblers. So they're willing to just play with money that they're willing to lose. So that's really not a market I want you to be throwing my money into long term. Unless you're like sort of looking to get good prices on some of these other blue chip solid projects that are going to be here for the more longer term.
Right. And then aside from NFTs, flipping, you actually started your own club or pass, right, which is the Plug Pass. Can you kind of walk us through how that came about? And you actually made over $1 million from that yearly subscription, right?
Yes, I did make $1 million off that yearly subscription. Do I have $1 million in my bank account right now? I wish I did. Yeah, I mean, at the time, yeah, I was like, oh my God, like this is great. But, you know, I wasn't ever looking at it like, oh my God, this is my money now. Like I wasn't like, yeah, I'm rich or this is like, oh, I'm a millionaire. Like, yeah, it's really cool numbers wise when you look at things like that. But, you know, I spend a lot of money reinvesting back into Plug Pass. And that money that I made, I only made a percentage of it because a percentage went to Brett and his team who helped me do the original mint as well at the time. Because I had no idea what I was doing, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll trust you with the development work, and I'll give you a percentage because it's just easier than me trying to like somehow figure out how to do the developing stuff, which I had no idea how to do." So yeah, back then Brett actually convinced me to sort of like make a group because I was like kind of against it. I was like, I don't know how, like I don't want people paying me, but I thought back to it and I'm like if I could get paid to do what I like why not? You know what I mean? Like there's so many people
Right.
who are scumbags and they're like shilling garbage for a check. Like I would never do that, but something where people could choose to pay me to join my group and be a part and learn of like what I'm doing, like that's dope. Like hell yeah, like if someone wants to be a part of that, I'm not gonna ever be like, yeah, you need to be in my group if you want to make money, because it's not the truth. Like if you really took the time, you could learn every single thing that's possibly needed in NFTs and other sources. But when you have it more concentrated in a group of people who are directly in the space and actually learning, it's a lot easier and a lot. It's fundamentally just a lot more simple to digest information.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. You know, you made a decent amount of money as well as you helped a lot of people, especially with those whitelist opportunities. And Plug Pass currently still holding above floor price, and the yearly subscription is almost coming to an end. So excited, you know, about the renewal. Also, so what do you think made you stand out from, I guess, other traders? Because, you know, a lot of people come and go in the space. What do you think, you know, you did that made you stand out from the rest? And what made you, I guess, so successful?
I mean, I don't even consider myself successful.
Or more successful than, I guess, the average DJ?
Yeah, I mean, numbers wise, I believe that the only reason that I'm any different than anyone else is because I documented what I did. You know, like there's many people who are way, way, way better traders than me, like in crypto. And then there's people who are way better traders than me in NFTs, right? But I mean, like, I feel like it's because almost they're following me in my journey just because I'm like, especially from my background, I grew up, you know, like never having money. And then all of a sudden, you know, I started learning and I got really good at trading NFTs. So I feel like people are almost like joining me on that pathway because of my whole entire path, especially in life. And I actually have a video coming out soon just talking about my entire experiences and how I went, you know, making all my money and how.
Make sure to check it out, guys.
Anyway, with Plug Pass, let me actually back up a little bit.
Okay.
Because like whenever people see the numbers, they go 1.1 million. Yeah, at the time, and I got percentage of that. I think like realistically, out of Plug Pass, I only got around like, I would like to say like 300, 400 grand at most after paying people and stuff like that. And obviously I got royalties too. So that's also something, but I also pay people. And I believe we gave away like close to $100,000 in Plug Pass to just like holders and stuff. And as well as that, like even with the whitelists that we got, I actually gave away 10 grand the other day in Plug Pass too, but that's getting off topic.
Shout out Plug Pass.
I believe in total with the whitelist that we have secured, I think made as like a group collective, like 15 million or something like that, like some like absurd number.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, and definitely providing value back to the holders, which is always a good thing. And I think you know, a lot of collections are really struggling to do that, but I think you've definitely done a great job with it. So for some of the younger people out there, or maybe just the people who are getting started on their NFT journey, you know, they're looking at you, obviously a person who has a pretty good track record. If they were starting out with a somewhat smaller budget, maybe $1,000 to $5,000, what would be, I guess, your advice, you know, in the NFT space if they are, you know, trying to make it? And would you even suggest them trading NFTs in this type of market?
I mean, there's like in any market, I always believe that there's definitely money to be made, and especially in times like this, when obviously it's going to be a lot more risk and a lot more volatile, but 100% there's money to be made. And when you're looking at projects right now, the barrier to entry is almost non-existent because they're basically free. You're just paying gas. So right now is actually a very good time for people who don't really have that money to just learn, and understand the space more so than anything. And what you could do right now is just actually a really cool tip and a quick alpha for you guys who are listening is go on Twitter, go on the search bar, type in free space mint, and go to the top and scroll through that entire list of projects and find the ones that you see the most repeating and you see the ones with the most likes. And those are the ones that people are going to be looking into getting, especially during a meta like this. It's very easy to point them out. And you can get into some of these projects very, very, very early, especially if you see one that has a little bit cooler of an art or a little bit cooler of a concept than others. You can sort of differentiate from that perspective and try to get in very, very early on some of these projects.
Yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. And I also wanted to ask you, because, you know, Brett, you and I talk quite a bit behind the scenes. I did want to get your take on it, especially on camera. Do you think the PFP craze will last? And if so, or if not, like, how long do you think, you know, we will be in this overall bull run?
NFTs are so much more than that. They could be used to verify assets. They could be used to verify car part. Like, we're seeing so many different applications of how we could use NFTs. You could use them as token gated communities. So you own the token, you could join a community. You know, like that's what Plug Pass actually is as well. Like there's so many different applications that you could have inside of an NFT that it's almost ridiculous to think that it's only going to be profile picture hype all this time, especially as time grows and time moves. It's ridiculous to think that it's going to last forever. For example, the Mona Lisa, imagine that was on blockchain and you could actually watch and see who owns it. You know what I mean? Like actual physical assets, or like a Pablo Picasso. You know, you could see, and especially with the royalties that'll be generated to these artists or stuff like that. Like there's so many different applications, and people are just so new to this entire experience. So a lot of people are just almost ignorant to it, and they kind of just think it's stupid. And I understand. I was stupid and ignorant at one point too about it, and I was laughing at dog pictures, and I was like, yeah, like who's gonna buy this shit? And then next day I woke up and it was $1,000 more. So anyway, I just think everyone take a little bit of time, research the market, and that's sort of what I would do in this situation right now.
Yep. And then speaking of like dog pictures in the early days, can you go over some of your best trades or your number one trade that made you a lot of money in the NFT space?
I mean, one of the best, I believe, was probably the Plasma Bears back in that day. I remember I used to bid on them, and I bought, I think, 10 in one day for 0.3 ETH and sold them the same day for 5 ETH each. So
that is crazy.
I think that was one of my best days. I think I made about like $40,000 to $50,000 that day.
That is insane, dude. From Amazon worker to making $30,000 to $40,000 in one day. So this is running a little bit long, so I do want to ask you one final question. What is a piece of advice that you would give to people trying to make it in this space or just trying to make it on their entrepreneurship journey?
I really think, and I say this all the time, it's going to sound redundant when I say this, is that people are just so afraid to fail. And as long as you don't let failure consume you, I believe that you'll have a lot of success. And a lot of people have that mentality that they can't fail. And I almost blame the school system for that, because they always say, oh, you can't fail. And if you fail this, you got to be left back. And they almost penalize you for failing when that's the best way to learn. So I think that everyone should fail a lot because you have a lot more to learn from failure than you do with success. So yeah, that's what I sort of think.
Well said, my man. Like my dad always said, nothing tried, nothing gained. So make sure you guys, go out there, try. Whether you fail or not, doesn't matter. At least you tried and know what the result is. But Kosher, thanks so much for hopping on the channel, my man. And also check out his socials. I will link it in the description down below. And also make sure to check out WGMI Media if you are starting out in the NFT space. Quick plug, we basically give you guys all of the information that you need to know and keep you guys up to date, especially if you don't have enough time. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys got something from Kosher's absolutely inspirational story. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
Bye.